Hello, everybody. My name is Alex Rusher, and you are listening to the Weebs and Memes Podcast. Unfortunately, Nellie-san's unable to join us this week. He just flew in today, back to the United States from Japan, and the jet lag has set in. So he's going to be taking this week off, and I think he's also planning on taking next week off due to spending time with family, and he's going to be outside of his normal workspace here in the States. So we'll hold tight for him. He owes me a couple shows, so we'll hold on that, and hopefully everything will work out. But yeah, I guess without further ado, we could just go straight into the show. Getting things popping up. Sorry. Doing updates for a bunch of things. Anyway, let's get right into it. So, this is week 5. Also, hello, Wolf Chaos. Welcome to the stream. So this is week 5 of the anime season, and things are not doing all that hot. So Island episode 5. This I actually did send a tweet out about, or like while I was watching this episode. I'm gonna see if I can pull that up. Here it is. So I'm going to be honest real quick. The longer this anime season goes on for, the more I cringe. It's good at points, but bad at a lot of others, and there are still 7 more weeks. So I actually posted this tweet while I was watching Island episode number 5. And my reasoning for that, actually, was because there was just nothing going on during the first half of this episode. To describe how it worked, boom. Let's get open our cast list so I can remember the names. Sorry. So this episode, or in the previous episode, hey J Dog, welcome to the stream. So in the previous episode, we had a little bit of foreshadowing with Sarah standing in the rain being like, I'm turning 17 tomorrow, or in a few days, and I gotta make something worthwhile. And so she starts really, really flirting hard with Setsuna throughout the entirety of the first half. And then they go on like a little massage tour. And that was like the first half of the episode. And that's when I sent out my tweet being like, the more I watch this, the more I'm cringing. And then a couple seconds later, everything kind of turned around as the plot actually started moving. I was like, oh my god, okay. So basically what was going on was Rine was explaining the history of Sarah's family that she was able to uncover in the library beneath her house. And basically, Sarah's family was preventing the soot blight syndrome, which basically if sunlight hits a person, they are like extremely exhausted or in extreme cases die. And they were preventing that by literally killing the children who were showing early effects of it and hiding the corpses. And there was a lot of disillusion going on, and Sarah does an attempt to take her own life towards the latter end of the episode. It got very dark very quickly, but they were able to renew her faith in humanity, kind of bringing a quick close to her arc, which, to be honest, I'm fine with. I think the focus of the story is kind of the mystery aspect with Rine and Setsuna and that whole island legend. While yes, Karen and Sarah are important characters in that, seeing as they are part of the family involved with it, they aren't the primary focus of the show, and I think it's important for that to get taken care of. We got their little paths, and it seems interesting. And if people are interested in finding more, they just have to look to the visual novel, which I think has that finally made it to Steam. I'm not entirely certain at the moment. But we did actually get a little bit more screen time with Renee's mother, though, so that was interesting as well. And yeah, I can't remember how next episode's going to be set up, but I think we're going to be starting to hit more on the mystery since we've now covered the 2 alternate paths, going under normal visual novel anime logic. Okay, we've covered this path, let's focus on the main girl's path. So that's pretty good because we'll have episodes 6 through 12 to explore the history of the island, get some more mystery stuff, figure out Setsuna's memories, figure out Renee's memories. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. But yeah, so that was Island episode 5. And to be honest, like, this is one of the better shows this season. So like, I'm fine with continuing to watch it. It is rough at times though, just simply because of how long it takes. But anyway, that was Island. All right, up next is Hanebado, episode number 5. So, Hanebado, Badminton, the anime, super duper fun to watch. And with this episode, I felt that it was a really good balance of action, drama, and slice of life. Which is kind of what the show's trying to aim for. So in the previous episode, I need to pull up the character list. Give me 1 second. So in the previous episode, Ayano and Rico were in a match against Connie. And it was kind of like a 1v2 match. And it was kind of neck and neck. It was a tough match. Eventually, Connie started getting very tired. And they were all aware of this. Even Connie's doubles partner, who was stepped off to the side due to Connie's pride. But we had good rallies. There were like some interpersonal drama, obviously. And oh God, how did that match end? I think Connie's team won because her teammate stepped in at the very end. And we actually got into a little bit of the mindset of both of these characters. Ayano was seeking approval from the team, and she thinks that the only way that she can achieve that is through winning. And it's kind of like a very narrow-sighted focus. Connie is very similar in that mindset, as she's trying to prove it to Ayano's mother, who helped her during a dark time, Uchika. So it was a very like tough fight. Ayano was kind of devastated towards the end of it, ran off after kind of getting yelled at by one of the give me a second. We're getting a little bit of fluctuation. Let's see what that will do. After getting oh God, I lost my train of thought. No. After the match, there was a conversation between Ayano and trying to get the names of everybody, Connie, about Ayano's mother, and Connie said that Ayano wasn't worth it, or it wasn't worth her mother's time to see Ayano. So we're getting a little bit more just like mental struggle. And then there was like obviously generic anime shenaniganty at hotels. Need I say more? But I think this episode, oh god, this episode was a little bit difficult for me. Because, well, actually no, it wasn't. It actually wasn't that difficult for me. Normally it is, because this show does like to just force story and, hey, you should care about this character, you should care about this character, you should care about this character. And it really didn't do it that much this episode, which is really nice. And as I said earlier, there was actual gameplay, which is nice. And you have a bunch of, or you have a conclusion to a game. The game didn't work out in the team's favor. You see how Ayano reacts and how she needs to improve. Connie gets the arrogance, which will actually help out later when they're going to eventually rematch. Come on, what are we expecting with this? So we'll hopefully get an Ayano redemption game against Connie. So, hey, there's cool stuff, which is cool. We're starting to see Ayano starting to slip back into some of her older skills and stuff. So, it's good. It's not the best, but it's good. So, that kind of summarizes episode number 5 of Hanabaro. Skipping through a majority of the stuff that we've cut out. Oh god. Every week I look at this show and I'm like, how bad is this going to be? How not to summon a demon lord? Yeah. So, as was stated last week, Shara Evergreen, princess of or Greenwood, my bad, princess of the elves, her brother wants her back for reasons, and she doesn't want to go. So Diablo has to go and convince the older brother that having your way with your sister is probably not the best way to go. You know, one would assume that would be logical, but apparently not. So anyway, they get more information about the quest that they're going on, and they're informed that Shara could be kidnapped at any time. So in order to assist with this, they brought on the work of an Imperial Knight, I think was the terminology they used, of Alicia, who's very diligent, as the main character describes. Very rarely relaxes. But she proves herself very capable when, well, Shela does get kidnapped. Or Shara? It's pronunciation's weird. And so she gets kidnapped within the confines of the town, and they are able to save her from the band of gangs, thanks in part to Emil, the Golden White Knight. And they start heading towards their journey out into, I don't even know where. They're just exploring to get to the Elven Kingdom. And that's kind of how the episode ended. They also met a high-ranking official, Cesare Galford, where we actually had an interesting, like, Dear Lord Diablo, you cannot speak to anybody moment, because he just is incompetent when it comes to that, which I think is honestly where a majority of the comedy of the show comes from, because he's incredibly powerful, and that's something that we know about Diablo. He's a level 150, and he's stuck in this world with level 30s to level 90s. So like nothing's a challenge for him. He also picks up a scythe because he doesn't want to kill anybody. Like he's purposely setting his power level lower. there's a lot of things that the show does right, and I hate that it does it right. But at the same time, with the cavalcade of good versus bad this season, you gotta take what you can get with the shows. And surprisingly enough, this show, despite all of its harem-y, ecchi tropes, it does bring not something new per se, but something a little bit more interesting compared to other options. And I think it has been minimalizing on the CGI that it uses, which for some cases that's actually very nice. But yeah. So this episode, it's good. We got a new character. Sweet. It's going to be interesting how she fits into this whole equation. And that concludes How Not to Summon a Demon Lord. Oh, God. Oh, my God. We're just going down raunchy lane. Let's get on to the next one of Harukana Receive. So, in this episode, Haruka and Kanata face off against I and Mai in a competition of a beach volleyball. We had met I and Mai in the previous episode during the swimsuit shopping section. And they stole the swimsuits that Haruka and Kanata were after. So we get about 16 minutes of volleyball for just the first set alone. And then during the second part, it's a lot more cuts, and it's just stacking up the tension and stuff. We learn a little bit more about I and Mai's past. They used to be on their school's volleyball team. And after losing in like the second round of an event, they picked up beach volleyball. At least that's kind of what's implied, because I think, oh God, it's Mai is I think the position's name is libero in volleyball, where basically like they do diving and stuff. Yeah, libero in volleyball, they're the defense specialists. So like she's really good at catching shots that are going off in one direction or the other. So cool history on that. And the motivations behind these characters against our main crew. Additionally, we learn a little bit more about Claire and Emily Thomas, as they were actually the previous second place in nationals. So, like, oh, okay, so these people they're working with are really good. And then we get more teases about this Akari Oshiro, but we haven't heard her like interact with anybody yet. She's kind of just been watching what's going on, so it's gonna be interesting. But yeah, no, this episode was tough for me, because a part of me was like, I appreciate what's going on. Like, hey, we're getting some gameplay. We're getting, they're hitting the ball back and forth. We're actually getting an actual set. And I think my only problem is that the show just abuses glam shots, assuming that's going to make up for any, like, lack of content. I did like when they went into the backstory, but I was like, this game's been going on for a long time. Oh, God, this has been going on for 16 minutes. So there was a little bit of, like, internal, like, sighing and stuff, but I don't know. It's enjoyable. I don't know. I'm gonna have to get Nellie-san's opinion on what he thinks. because I don't know if I want to continue watching this show, because it's starting to get to the point where I'm like, I get what the show's trying to do, and it's not really fitting what I was hoping for. It's just a lot of glam shots. I think Giguk did a good comparison between Hanabado and Harakana Receive. Hanabado is a sports anime. Meanwhile, Harakana Receive is a sports anime. So yeah. So we'll see if this keeps staying. Who knows? Might be dropped. We'll see. But for the time being, we'll see what happens. All right. And we are continuing on down the list. We have Angels of Death. And so this is episode number 5 of Angels of Death. So we just got up to floor B3. Shoutouts to pop-ups. And we're our characters are up against Kathy, who's leader of this insane asylum. And there was a lot more. So the previous episode left us in a cliffhanger of them trying to escape from a gas-filled room. Gosh, give me a second. They were able to find the solution, but Zach, being incompetent and trying to solve it, because that's what he is unable to do anything. So Rachel, who determines once the actual deadly gas comes in, determines, oh hey, this stuff's flammable, places a small bomb or a small lighter or spark creator using some batteries, supposedly from a flashlight, and proceeds to blow up the gas. So they're able to escape from that. The poison starts getting into Rachel's head a little bit, so she has to take a little nap during that time. Zach has a flashback. The next challenge, or the next puzzle that they had to solve, was basically a reenactment of Zach's childhood, where basically he lived in an orphanage. It's presumed that either him or the orphanage caretakers, who weren't nice at all, literally scum of the earth, were killing other orphanage inhabitants, and so we see a little bit of Zach's troubled past and what kind of made him into who he is today. They managed to solve loosely, because Zach got mad and he destroyed everything. But we got that, and they moved on to the next. Oh my god! Challenge, and it's definitely Kathy trying to break Zach and Rachel, and I think she's trying to break Zach first, because as soon as Zach breaks and kills Rachel, he has no way of advancing further, and she can just leave him to starve. So I think that's the strategy that she's approaching with this. And it got pretty close towards the end, when Zach starts getting very bloodthirsty and he can't set it. But Rachel was able to talk him down from it in her weird way of, well, just kill me. But no, I need to get out. But just kill me. It's this show. I want to like it. I really do. But the problem is that the writing, either because of the source material or because of something else, just isn't there. It's just kind of going through the paces of what the RPG Maker game would put you through. And I think that's kind of frustrating for me. Especially after reading the manga and reading portions of the manga. Because I haven't read all the manga, because I want to make that all clear. But I don't know. This is another one where I'm stuck at an impasse, because the world that's created leaves so much mystery, but at the same time, it's so difficult to just deal with the amount of depression that's coming out of these characters and the multitude of repeated dialogue of, I'm gonna kill you when we get out of here. Well, okay. You swear to God about it. There's so many just repeated things, and I feel like it's just going too slow. Now, where does this put this is kind of the question. And I think the answer to that is I'm going to continue watching it because I can't help myself. Because I always challenge myself to watch trashy shows. But it's starting to get repetitive. It's starting to get annoying, and starting to see that is very disconcerting. So I really hope either they clean up their mistakes and get it a little bit more interesting, or they're gonna lose a lot more than just me as an audience, and they probably lost a lot of people already. Alright, that was Angels of Death episode number 5. Alright, 7 Senses of the Reunion, or Shichise no Subaru. So in this episode, I don't even know what happened anymore. I'm gonna actually pull up the Wikipedia for this. So in this episode, we had Haruto starting to fight against Takanori, the leader of the Illuminati, and their fight gets broken up prematurely by Satsuki, who breaks through Takanori's divinity spell or ability. They are like, we're gonna get Asahi, and it's like, why don't we just rebuild Asahi, or rebuild Subaru, the group of adventurers that they were, and make Asahi happy that way? And Takanori's like, no, only I can make her happy because I'm obsessing over her. And that's what happens at the start of this. Satsuki, who's still a little bit peeved at Haruto kind of being super obsessed about Asahi all the time, decides to give me a second to formulate words, log out, and she's late to meeting up with them the following couple of days. During that time, Haruto and Asahi decide to travel off to a foreign continent in search of their friends, Clive and Nozomi, who were part of the group. But to very minimal success. Eventually, Satsuki catches back up. Also during this time, we see Takanori talking with one of his internal minions or workers or something, and they look outside to see the two other, the Red Army and the Blue Army. I think, oh god, I can't remember the groups. The Southern Cross, the red group, and the Brill Society, the blue group. And they eventually ambush Takanori, Haruto, and Asahi, separating all of them. So Haruto's up against primarily Southern Cross, Satsuki's up against primarily the Brill Society, and Asahi against the Illuminati. At this point, Satsuki and Haruto get assistance from outside forces. Haruto's support came in the form of the mysterious girl who had warned her about, or the mysterious girl who appeared in, I think, episode 2 or 3, informing Haruto that people are after Asahi. And apparently she has a bow that can seal senses, so seals like people's magic and stuff, so that's pretty powerful. And then Satsuki was saved by a person who threw daggers, so we're assuming that's going to be Clive, because he was kind of like a roguish character. At the towards the later part of the episode, once those two sub-conflicts get handled, Takanori puts Asahi to sleep, but then some of his minions try to grab her, which results with them being revealed to be members of Southern Cross and the Brill Society, or under an illusion of the Brill Society, because the Brill Society primarily focuses on magic. I don't know why this is like sticking so much in my head at the moment, so like I'm sorry if it's like super rambly. But basically they get away with Asahi, and Haruto's like, well, I gotta save Asahi, so goes off to battle a huge like army of both Brill Society and Southern Cross, who grouped up together. So it's very interesting. This show has actually been progressing relatively well. It had a very slow start with me personally, but after a while it's become very good. It's not too flashy, it's not too like out there. It is an isekai, so that automatically demerits about like 5 points or so at minimum. But it's been interesting so far, to say the least. And I think we're starting to reach the point where we can get like pretty good estimates about what's good and what's not. And while we're still going to watch the what's not good, and referencing Haruka Receive and Angels of Death, at least my personal opinions about those, we are still going to watch those, and we're still going to give opinions on them, because you never know. Haruka Receive, the main girl might start, spiking halfway across the court and stuff. So you never know what's going on. But yeah. So I guess we will continue on to the next one. Oh God, we're really scrolling down these. We got episode number 4. Episode number 4, Free Dive into the Future. And oh my god, this show. Whoa, this is not what I got last time. Sorry. Give me just a second. There we go. So in this episode, more of the same. This is the thing about Free, is that, like, it's the same thing. Yes, exactly. Chaos. It's gay, but it's good. We have the actual like I'm going to introduce myself now. Hiyori introduces himself to, oh my god, site design's poor. Sorry. Hiyori Tono introduces himself to Asahi Shina, Makoto Tachibana, and Haruka Nanase when they try to meet up with Ikiya Kirishima. And once again, he plays his role of, I'm just not going to let you see my boy because he's my boy, under the guise of being best friends because reasons. As you can see in this promotional image, Hiyori is good at backstroke, so they make a challenge. They race each other to determine who is the better, or if Ikiya is deserving of seeing them. So initially he challenges Haruka, or Haru, but he's like, oh, well, you only swim free, don't you? Well, I'm good at backstroke, so that's unfair. But then Makoto jumps in and is like, yo, I'll face you. And he has like a bunch of motivation to go against him. They both agree. So the match is set. After a couple of communications and seeing into Ikiya's personal life, where he really, really loves The Little Mermaid, that book's going to appear a lot in this show. We get a little bit more school life, a little bit more history of the past, and then the race happens between Makoto and Hiyori. Hiyori barely wins against Makoto, but does respect his ability. But at the same time also is like, nah, you can't see Ikiya. And his reasoning why is still a bit flaky, of I don't think this is an important time for him, and he doesn't need distractions or anything. But additionally, we learn a little bit more about Ikiya's past, specifically between the time that he was in middle school swimming with Haru to where he is now. Because I don't know if I mentioned this in the previous ones, Ikiya apparently in the movies almost drowned for whatever reason, and that was a significant impact on their friendship and stuff. Well, actually no, the friendship was Haru quitting swimming. I probably need to refresh myself on the movies in order to actually accurately talk about it. But apparently while in America, Ikiya almost suffered the same thing again. So, and we're seeing glimpses of this as he's training as well. So this is a common occurrence. He's still very talented, but this is still very risky. So there's a lot of concerns on all sides about this. And the episode actually ends with by far the cruelest thing Hiyori has done in this show, which is basically telling Haru, everyone that swims with you suffers, which causes Haru to have a flashback about him and Rin's relationship from the first 2 seasons, where basically Rin had so much pride that getting defeated by Haru really, really broke him, and really ruined their relationship. Now they're better, but it was definitely oh, you prick. That was I do not like this character, which I really like. The fact of the matter is he's designed to be a hateable character, which means that when his redemption happens, it's going to be good, or when he starts fitting in with the crew. So episode number 4 of Free, it's gay, but it's good. Way to go. And then there was some slice of life stuff tossed in between. It's definitely not a swimming show. It's definitely a drama, but it does a really good job at it, surprisingly enough. All right. Up next, we have, oh God, we're approaching the end. Dear Lord, This is interesting. We got Yuragiso no Yunasan. So in this episode, our main character decides to actually go to school. Shoot. I need to find which character. Okay, there we go. This is characters. So our main character. Oh my god, can we just get English, please? Oh god. Let's see. Oh, shout outs to images. Seriously. You can't translate images. Woo. Okay, I gotta pull up Wikipedia. Ragiso no Yunasan. Yeah, we'll just go with the Wikia. Kogarashi. He's off to his first day of school, and it's super exciting. He's just, trying to fit in because all of his life it's been just a pain for him because getting possessed by ghosts, other things. He's just trying to fit in, and that's very difficult. And he goes on to a good start. Yuna actually shows up as well. To kind of just follow along. She can't be seen by anybody else because she's a ghost. But eventually, Yuna starts looking around a bit, and she looks at what's her name? Chisaki, who's like the most popular girl in the class, because you gotta have the main character be friends with the most popular girl in class. Accidentally peeks up her skirt, and blame gets tossed onto Kogarashi, and generic harem ensues. Poltergeisting happens as well, because of contact embarrassment, causing Yuna's poltergeist ability to activate, which just causes so many disturbances. After introductions where Kogarashi gets made fun of because he admits that he's a spirit medium, Chisaki actually approaches him after school and is like, hey, I have a ghost problem. These stuffed animals are like being super weird. Can you help me? To which Kogarashi blindly says yes, and is like, hey, okay, let's take a look at your house. So conveniently forces his way into her house, which he does encounter possessed stuffed animals, isn't able to immediately solve it, and after, God forbid, harem-y things, this show is trash. This show is trash by that fact, mind you. He gets kicked out, but later that night he breaks in when she gets attacked again. They're able to trace the attacker back to a park, and they have a fight against the thing, and they eventually meet Koyuzu, who is a fox, or a tanuki spirit. Sorry, I remember the tail, and I'm like, fox spirit, no, wait, it's tanuki. Who can't really transform into a good adult, so she's trying to imitate Chisaki, whose best trait is apparently her breasts, because anime, woo! After defeating her and resolving some of the issues, Kogarashi takes Koyuzu back to the Uragian to actually be able to live in peace. So we actually got a good conclusion to this episode, which is nice, and we add one to the roster. Plus, hey, MC-kun now has a friend at school, so that's cool. This episode had a good amount of, hey, we're going to add more characters, and hey, we're going to kind of expand this world a little bit and give a little bit of lore into some of the abilities, because and explain some of the things that happened in the previous episodes. So there was a lot of good, but then you mix that with just trash harem, and it's very difficult to place it. But I don't know. It was enjoyable because trash, but I don't know. Anyway, that was Yuragiso no Yunasan, episode number 3. Alright, and now to end off with, of course, the one show that Nellie-san and I absolutely adore. Happy Sugar Life. And this week's episode was so good. So we had a conclusion to Shio getting stolen away, and we see the face of this imaginary figure that she was seeing in her head, and it's her mother. And she actually is aware of this. I think it's heavily implied that she's aware of this. And so she sees her mother, and her mother is just creepy as heck. Apparently scolding Shio for letting go of her hand and saying that she would not forgive her. And this causes Shio to pass out. The people who were beating up, oh god, what's his name? Mitsubashi? This dude who's now just freaking out. Yeah, Mitsubashi. They see Sato, who's kind of flirting at them to come over to her, who then knocks them out, then kills them because if you weren't already aware, she is crazy. And she takes Shio back to the house and installs a new lock. Meanwhile, Mitsubashi actually sees Sato running away with Shio. So now he's very suspicious, and he actually takes the day off work in order to kind of cope and kind of process everything. We actually see inside of his room, and it is creepy. He has a lot of Shio posters on it. This guy is a freak, which I'll actually get to because there is a thing that I saw that kind of I found very interesting. So we now see that Sato is getting extremely paranoid about Shio getting out of the house. Shio getting a taste of the outside and starting to hallucinate about her dead mother basically causes her to really go insane at home. Like, she's starting to draw her vision of her mother inside of the closet. Mitsubashi is going insane because he got to touch essentially what he's been searching for. We actually have the creepy teacher, Daichi Kito Mekawa. I can't pronounce it. He's starting to have realizations that, oh god, Sato is like lying about a lot of things. But he's so stuck in his own mind that he doesn't know how to interpret everything. We have no idea where Asahi is going. It's shown that he heard Shio screaming, but he didn't go chasing after her, so who knows what's going to happen. Maybe he's going to show up on Sato's door the next day. So there's a lot of stuff going on. And the episode ends with apparently one of the co-workers sniffing Sato's clothes. So oh my god, I actually don't have any water and I'm running out of blah. My throat is just dying right now, but hopefully it's working out. Basically we got just a lot of character development, and it's kind of setting the stage for a new conflict. Shio's becoming aware that something's not right in this world. Mitsubashi is aware that Sato's involved with Shio somehow. We're setting up another crazy person. And there's a lot going on. Oh my god. Okay. So, fun time. I want to explain one thing that was brought up. So this was talked about during 4-Star or Anime FMK, produced by Team 4-Star, in their episode 3 review. And one of the things that they said that I really found interesting, oh my god, is that this show is displaying lolicon culture. For those unfamiliar with it, lolicon is basically obsession about younger girls. It's very disgusting, very depraved. But it's kind of like a desire to protect these girls, which, like, normally is fine. But the problem is that lolicon culture goes even further, where it's like, yeah, no, I'm just trying to protect this girl, and I have her as, you know, like, a screensaver, my Twitter avatar, look at pictures every day, and I definitely wouldn't touch her in any way, shape, or form. But then what happens when they actually get a hold of their desire? And that's kind of the character that Mitsubashi is kind of portraying at this point, and similarly with Sato. And it's been a very interesting kind of commentary on that, where Mitsubashi kind of represents the creepiness of a whole community. And I just found that very interesting. Because, yeah, no, like, lolicons are an absolutely disgusting thing. But being, like, kind of like something that we just, I don't know. What I do know is that this revelation was just like, oh, this is exactly what this show is about. And it's definitely about, like, each of these people have their own desires, and many of them aren't good. I don't think the question now is, like, who's good, who's evil? You have Sato, who's killed people to stay with Shio, because she did actually kill the people who were beating up Mitsubashi after knocking him out. Like, she's not good. She is deranged, and she is obsessive over Shio. Shio is showing signs of paranoia and disillusion, hallucinations, and it's scary. Asahi, we don't know what's going on with him. Mitsubashi is showing a lolicon culture and obsessive behaviors. The manager in the first episode, lust over love, was her thing, forcing love. You have the instructor who's a masochist, and you have all these different characters with all these different traits, and there's no one who's really good. I mean, Shio gets portrayed as the good, the light of everything, but she's starting to turn darker and darker and darker. So it's going to be very interesting on how this show progresses, especially as it gets darker and darker, and it's trying to tread the line of what it can show on air. Because that's definitely what the show is doing. It's pushing its boundaries as hard as it can, which I think is good. You need to see these extremes to understand that they aren't rational. So, yeah. That was Happy Sugar Life episode number 4. And that basically concludes everything in the Weebs section. due to personal timing stuff, we are going to have to cut this episode a little bit short. I'm sorry. I have a lot of stuff that I need to do today, and I am almost as exhausted as Nellie-san is. So, sadly, this episode of the Weebs and Memes podcast is only just the Weebs, but next time I'll be sure to try to bring a decent amount of memes. Maybe we'll look into a subreddit or something. I'll take a look at our options. But for now, I think I'm going to end this off with a song. I don't even know. We'll see. We'll do Unconditionally by Broken Elegance. And I want to thank you all for listening. It's been a whole lot of fun to do this, and hopefully we will have Nellie-san on back again next week. Anyway, thank you all for listening. Have a good rest of your nights. Bye.